Hi class, today we're going to talk about color map, color gradient, and color table. So in the past few weeks and exercise, we've been doing a lot of gradient mapping. So we're going to continue that with this exercise. So what is color gradient, right? It's just really mapping certain colors onto your images, right? Mapping the highlights, the midtones, and the shadows onto your images and the color that you want to map that to. Okay, so for me, I personally love Rembrandt, and I hope your teachers talk to you about Rembrandt as one of the lighting techniques. So for me, I love his work and I love the mood that it creates. And if you've seen some of my portrait, it has a lot of that mood to it. So how do we do that? So how do we get Rembrandt, like this image here, into a photo? So I want you guys to do two things. First, find a image on the web, either a painting that you like, and when I'm talking about painting you like, I look specifically for the color, right? The highlight, shadows, and the overall feel of it. Or look for a photo that you like. With the same, you like the mood that it created, and then import that into Photoshop. And then the other thing is uh, open a portrait that you've taken before that you want to apply this color grade and color table to. Okay, so pause here, look for those two things, and then continue the tutorial. So now that you have the two things, the reference image, right, and then the portrait, right, that you want to get it from. So let's see. So for this portrait, I wanted to create this portrait with the same color gradient from this image here, Rembrandt's painting. So how do I do that? How do I turn this image into that gradient with this portrait, right? So we're gonna do a lot of work on that. Okay, so let's delete that and start from the beginning. So first thing is open your reference image. So I opened that, and we're gonna get the color table from this reference, right? So go to File, we're gonna go to, let me see, Export, Save for Web Legacy, and right now it's giving us all 256 colors right here. So I don't want all that. I just want 3. So I've done 3, 5, and 9 in the past, and I find that 3 is the simplest and the best to start for beginners. So let's do 3. So it kind of took all those colors and removed everything else and left me with the highlights, midtones, and shadows. So now we're going to save this color table. Click here on the menu icon, save color table. Save it to a folder that you'll be able to retrieve this from. But for me, I always like to save things neatly so I can come back to it. So I'm going to save it into Adobe Photoshop. Where is it? Application Support, Adobe 2021, presets, and I'm going to save it in color swatch. So if you notice, I already have that there. So I'm going to name it ACD Rembrandt 2. Okay. So save it to wherever you think you can collect it. I like to save mine under Adobe and under the preset color swatch. So it's up to you. So make sure ACT is on, especially if you have a Windows, right? Because Mac automatically saves as that. So, but Windows double check that is .act. Okay. So save or whatever format that its Windows equivalent. Okay, so now that you save that, we are going to cancel. We don't need that anymore. And we are going back to our image that we want to apply that to. So we're going to go down here, adjustment. We're going to create a gradient map. Okay. So I'm going to go to Windows. I'm going to open my swatches so I can reference that. Okay, so so I already done this, but if for you guys, you probably don't have that already there. So how do you import that? This icon here, click on it, and I am going to import my swatch. Right, so it automatically went to my color swatches, but if it doesn't automatically go to your folder, probably that's the case. Go find the folder that you found it in, and then select the swatch. So for Windows, if you don't see anything, there's a icon down here that says File Format. Make sure is color table selected, ACT. Okay, and then you'll be able to see what you saved it to. So select your table, see, and then just import it into my swatch. Okay, I'm gonna make sure it's open so I can reference it. I'm gonna click on my gradient map, and then I'm gonna create a new one. So let's create a new one. It doesn't matter. So let's keep this here. Double click on it. The eyedropper comes up. You're going to click on the highlights. And what I want you to be careful, look at is write this number down, 73. So I'm just going to copy that. Command C to copy. Click OK. And then Command V to paste. Okay. Or Command or Control, so depending on Mac or Windows. Click OK. So you're not done yet. Now we want the mid-tone. Select anywhere around here, really doesn't matter. Double click on that icon. Now click on your reference. Copy this here, highlight it, Command C to copy, Command or Control to copy, and then Command or Control V to paste. Very good. And then next I want to have the shadow. Click here, double click on the icon, select that. Again, 10, Command C or Command or Control C to copy, Command or Control V to paste. There you go. So now you did the first step, so we no longer need the swatch. I'm going to bring that up. I'm going to name it ACD Ramp 2. Okay, so if you notice, the things I created will show up in my color palette. Okay. So, okay, so just created that for me. So click OK. Now I'm going to go to overlay. So I think I like soft light. So I usually, for me, do any blend mode you like. So go through and select the one you like. For me, I always either stick to overlay or soft light generally with all my images. So I'm going to name it properly. So color gradient or gradient map, overall color. Okay, so next we're going to find the, so we're almost there. Step 2, we're going to find this overall color here. I want to look at what color is the highlight, midtones, and shadows, and then I'm going to map that. I'm going to enhance that over with this image here. So how do we do that? So first we need the paintbrush. Make sure your paintbrush is selected. Okay, and then we're going to create a new layer. So you want a new layer. And double click on the paint here on the side. So we're going to color pick. If you want to be precise, we can do it. Well, we'll be precise with the mid-tone, but just click on anywhere that you like the highlight to be. So I kind of think the highlight's around here, around his forehead, somewhere there. Okay, and then I'm gonna paint. So remember, you paint on that layer. You don't paint directly on that image. Next, I'm gonna double click that. I'm gonna find the shadows. Shadows somewhere here. So let's pick that point. Okay, and then I'm gonna paint the bottom shadows. Or maybe I want it darker than that. I'll find out with the mid-tone first. So how do we find the mid-tone? We're going to go up to click on the image itself. We're going to go up to select color range, something that we did last week on the snow tutorial. So we like that color. Fuzziness is fine. Remember, white to review. So saying that that's around the mid-tone. Tolerance is fine. So click OK. We're going to go to filter, blur. Oh, sorry. Forgot one step. Command or Control J to copy it into a different layer. Then we're going to go to filter, blur, and we're going to average that. So it's going to take an average of all of that. And then go back to the brush, select the color picker, and we're going to probably somewhere around his cheek here. Okay. Then select layer 1. And we're going to create the swatch. So basically we're creating a color table like we did with the other. But we're just mapping this directly on the highlight, and I'll show you later how we're going to map that. Okay, so now that we have that, we're going to copy that. So get the marquee, still on the same layer, copy, and then we're going to come here, and we're going to paste. Okay, so now that we paste that, and bring the selection, make it slightly bigger so it's easy to map, and then click OK. So that's just a reference, don't need to name it because we're going to delete it when we're done. Okay, so now we're going to create a curve. So I personally don't use level at all most of the time. When I edit, I mostly use curves for almost everything. So make sure that you select the graph for the histogram image here. So now that we selected the histogram, we're going to map it. So this is the highlight. We're going to double click on the highlight. This color picker comes out. We're going to select the highlight here as a reference. Click OK, no, because we're just using this once. And then we're going to find the highlight. Right, I think it's around her nose. So you don't click around and see what color, but I think it's around her nose that I want the highlight to be. There. Okay, so now I'm going to click the midtones, double click on it, the color picker appears, click on the midtone here, click OK, no, and I find the midtone. I think the midtone's around her shoulder, maybe her cheek. There you go. And then last, the shadow, double click on the shadow, select this color here for the shadow, and click OK, and no, and I think I want it right there. There we go. So, and then now we can delete this layer, name it color. And again, just want to maybe go up to 65%. So play with the opacity you want until you get to the areas you want. So there you have it. So remember to name it properly. We're going to put in global because it affected the whole entire image. So now, we're very close to Rembrandt. So last week we did texture, right? So we're going to do that again quickly. So adding texture to the background. So we select the background. It doesn't matter what select is because we're going to refine it later. I generally like to just do curves. It doesn't really matter because you're really not affecting it, or maybe I do want to lift it a bit. There. And lift that just a bit up, but you don't have to do that. You can just keep it as normal because the objective is really not the curve itself, but applying the texture. Okay, so now go to Windows and Libraries, and we are going to apply one of the texture that we uploaded 2 weeks ago, I think. Okay, so drag that onto your canvas and rotate that just a bit. And I'm going to drag it just so it's bigger on the canvas. Click OK. Click the overlay. And option command or hit option command or option control and G to clip, right? So we want to clip it to the bottom here. So because it's on her face, we did a very basic job. Now we're going to fine tune it now. Okay, so make sure that you select the mask. Make sure black is selected because black is for blocking it. And we're just going to erase that texture on her face and on her neck. Okay, so make sure you erase it properly in your image. Okay, so I'm erasing it all on through all the skin. Except for the back. Okay, so I over erased there a little bit. Bringing it back to white, smaller brush. I'm going to go in and clean that up just a bit. Okay, so there you have it. Name this as Black Drop. Okay, so background, so I'm going to name that. So there you have it. I think I missed her eyes, so let's double check. I did miss her eye. There you go. Okay, so there you have it. So before and after applying this Rembrandt color palette onto photograph. So try that yourself and submit it as a JPEG.